So I was called to program this ECU. So what we are going to do is we are going to change the VIN number on this ECU. It's a Mazda6 ECU. So what I'll do is they have two options. Either you read it by OBD or you read it by bench. But I'm doing the OBD. Then after that we do it by bench. So you can see it gives me the hardware number and the calibration ID and the CVN ID also. So I'll wait for it to connect to the server so that we read it. Then after reading the ECU, what I'll do is I'll go to bench and read it from the bench also. So normally they have two options of reading this Mazda ECU. There's a Mazda6 ECU which is Denso PY9W. So you can read it, and it means the PXX means it can read any of the Denso P series. So when you are doing it by OBD, it has a different method of doing it, but you have to connect your ECU with the it is either your multi-prog is connected to the OBD on the vehicle. That one you don't need any power supply to use the car's battery to turn on the multi-prog. Or when you are doing it, or you can just set up on bench using GoDark device to connect it with the CAN high and CAN low end power, so that your GoDark device, your multi-prog device can communicate with the ECU. So with this one, I'll wait for it to read. I'm not reading it from the OBD port on the vehicle, but it's a bench reading, but I've connected it in the OBD series. So you can see the image on your right, which shows you how to connect your multi-prog to the vehicle. And when you connect it to the vehicle, you don't need any power supply. The moment the multi-prog identify the 12 volt, it will turn on. But if you set it to OBD, you can't supply the 12 volt to anything. You have to turn on the multi-prog. So with this one, I'll wait for it to read, and reading it from the OBD, it's like you are reading only the flash. Yeah, you are reading only the flash, and it can be done full cloning. But normally I don't advise some of the ECU to be cloned, because sometimes if it's a data corruption, it will transfer to the other ECU also, and you might not be able to identify it properly. So with this one, what I'll do is I'll wait for it to finish reading, and they keep updating and improving on their device. So we are hoping it becomes as powerful as they say it is, because sometimes it's part of the ECU programmer's issues. Sometimes it can fail and it will cause you more harm, and sometimes too it might save you from certain causes. So we'll bring you back the moment it is done reading, and you can see it's now almost 60%, 69% done. So we'll bring you back again when it is done reading, and you can see with this one, you can see the voltage and the current. There is nothing showing over there, because it is not the multi-prog which is powering the ECU to get data from it. Rather, it is the ECU or the OBD port which is powering the multi-prog for it to read in the OBD series. So bear it in mind that when you are using it in the OBD mode, you don't need to put any power supply on the multi-prog. You can use battery maintainer to get a strong battery for your OBD system or for your vehicle to read, because sometimes when you are reading on the vehicle and you have a weak battery and you are writing a data, when the battery goes off, it might end up killing the ECU. So you need a power supply on the vehicle rather, not on the multi-prog. But when you are doing it on bench, that's where you need a power supply on the multi-prog rather, not on the ECU. So this one, it is now done, and it is now doing one or two configuration to verify and tell you the time it used and every other thing. So I'll wait for it to finish whatever it is doing, so that I know the estimated time that it used to read the ECU from the bench. So you can see it used 26 minutes 51 seconds 70 milliseconds to read this ECU. So that means it took a long time for it to read this ECU. So I'm going to do it on bench also, and this is how I connected it on the OBD side. So I have to disconnect it and now connect the power supply to my multi-prog rather, because now I'm coming to read it on bench. So now I have to turn on the multi-prog. And you can see it tells me now it is connected. So at that point, I'm reading the EEPROM first. Then with the EEPROM, it shouldn't take much time. So I'll read the EEPROM. But normally connecting it, the reason why I couldn't do is because I didn't turn on my go dark. So what multi-prog does is it sends voltages. So it's not like when you connect your multi-prog power supply, you get it sends voltage to the ECU and try to communicate with it. You can see now it will send voltage to the ECU. You can see now it has sent voltage to my go dark, and the go dark will send the voltage to the ECU so that it can read data from it. And you can see now that I've read the data, so it is now, this is the VIN number of the vehicle, which I can change the VIN number, the last 2 digits, and rewrite it. You can see it took 1 minute 88 seconds to read the EEPROM. So let me try and read the flash also. Then I'll edit the EEPROM data, the VIN number, then we'll change it. Then you see. So now you can see it shows me the chip ID, the CPU ID, which is SH725. So now you see when I read it. So this is the VIN number that is on the ECU. I've connected it to my. So this is the VIN number that I wrote on the system. So this is the VIN number that I wrote on the system, and now I'll rewrite after writing the other VIN number. You can see when I changed the VIN number, and I did, you can see that it has turned into 2 instead of the 3. So I'll rewrite it again onto it. Then you see that I'll get back my 3. So now it is 2. The last number is 72 instead of 73. So I'll rewrite it back. Then after rewriting it back, I'll read it to get the original VIN number, which is 73. So you can easily edit the VIN number and rewrite it back. So you can see that now that I've read it, it's now 73. So let me go back and do the reading again. And you see it goes to 73, which is the original VIN number of the vehicle. So you can use the multi-prog to edit the VIN number. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel for